Hello, Facebook. Welcome to 365 Days Live with New. I hope you are doing well. It is the nighttime and it is Saturday, and I am in bed relaxing while Robert is playing games and having his own time, and I'm having my own time. I am in the middle of watching an episode of my Korean drama, but I wanted to make sure that I come on for my lives, and as you may know, I am not going to be coming live every day anymore after March of 2025. So if you're catching this, then you know, I am still going live for the next 2 days, including today would be 3 days. But after that, then it will not be every day anymore. But you can always, if you've missed any of my lives, I know on Facebook sometimes you have to scroll down to see all the days that and go back to like the days you've missed. So it's a lot easier if you actually go onto my YouTube channel. And on my YouTube channel, I have a playlist that is specifically for my 365 days live challenge on Facebook. And when you go on that playlist, you can see all the videos, all the days in chronological order. Well, for the most part, sometimes when I was uploading them, maybe it might have mixed up like a day or two, but it will be all labeled on there. So if you are watching this later on, and I know Facebook has been deleting Facebook Lives, so that is also why I'm sharing this, because if you are watching this on Facebook and you want to watch the earlier ones, then those might have been deleted already. So make sure you go on to my YouTube channel and you will find the earlier ones on there. I'm also in the process, not in the process, but I am going to upload actually all my lives, all my Facebook lives onto a podcast, onto a separate special podcast that's just for my 365 days live, which is technically now 90 days, but I will be doing that separately at a different time. So that is some of the groundwork that I want to share, some of the information that I want to, the logistics that I want to share about the lives. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in tonight and today. I say night because it is nighttime over here. But I have just been having such a wonderful day. It's like the first week in the Robert and I have been able to sleep in, not have to go anywhere, not have to be anywhere. The morning was really slow, really amazing. I got to sleep in. We both got to sleep in. Had a really nice, we read the Bible in the morning together. We had some conversations. I got a massage in the morning, and then we made breakfast together and went for a really nice walk, and then watched a movie, and then we went on a hike with his parents and his brother. And yeah, it was just such an amazing day. So really, really grateful for that. And so I was like, okay, what do I want to talk about today? As you know, I always want to share what is going on, what is true, what I feel in my heart. And I think today I really wanted to talk about the fact that we all really have choices. We all have the ability to decide what we want to do and what we don't want to do and what really happens. So the idea that we really do have choice, even though we don't really feel sometimes that we have the option to do something or to not do something. And I say this because, I've been there before where I feel like I have just been such a victim of my circumstances that it's like, how am I supposed to break out of all these habits and all these ways of being that I have created or have just been part of for the past 30 years, right? I say 30 years because I feel like that was when it's more like 29, 30, that I really woke up from this realization, from this sleep, I guess, quote unquote sleep, that I have been living such an unconscious life of being a victim to life, to my life circumstances. And of course, when you've had a long lifetime of conditioning, you can feel like, I needed to breathe. You can feel like you have no choice. You can feel like you're being pulled in so many directions. You have so many responsibilities. So many people are relying on you for this and that, right? But that's only the case because you have created a life where people have expected that from you. You have allowed certain things to be the way they were. You have allowed people to view you as this person who takes care of everything, right? And so you have created this identity for yourself that other people have known you as. And so, of course, it is now up to you whether you want to change that identity, whether you want to start shifting the way other people see you. And if you do, then you have to start shifting the way you see yourself first. Remember, it always comes and starts with ourself. We have to, if I want other people, like I'm going to give my personal example. It's like I have always been the one in my family to take responsibility for big events, putting together parties, arranging things for my family gatherings, family events. And I always felt like I had to be a parent to my siblings. So whenever it's like a birthday, I feel like I had to be the one in charge and delegating and being responsible and being the one that people come to for if they had any questions. And so I always took on that role because I felt like if it wasn't me, then nobody would do it. And I would just step in and be that masculine role. And that was just how I operated my whole life. And then when I was like, okay, I don't want to take on this role anymore, and I looked around and nobody was taking the role, I got like a little bit frustrated and a little bit bitter because I was like, I'm tired of taking on this role. But at the same time, it's also, I take responsibility for how the situation is because of the many years that I have taken responsibility and taken the role of being that one in charge, that everybody else has taken their role, their identity as like, oh, when I'm with Nu, I let her lead, right? So I have created that dynamic between me and my siblings. So whenever we are in a situation where someone needs to take over, then they always do look to me. And so for me, I decided that like, I don't want that. I don't always want to be the one in charge. Like it's really exhausting for me. And so I needed first and foremost to switch that identity within myself and view myself and have that conversation with myself that I no longer want to be that person, at least not all the time, right? And so it starts with me. And once I decide that, then it is up to me for me to communicate to my siblings that, hey, like when we have this party or this event, can you help me with this? I don't want to be responsible. I don't want to be the sole person that's responsible for carrying over these duties or doing these things. And so it is my responsibility to communicate to my siblings so that they know and they're updated with how I am seeing myself, instead of just like ignoring the duties that other people are assuming that I would take on, right? So it is, at the end of the day, teamwork where both of us, me coming from my end and the other party, communicating and working together to make the situation work. But again, at the end of the day, it starts with you. It starts with me. If I want to switch the way I show up in a situation in my life, I have to start with deciding that within myself, prioritizing that, and having a vision of how I want to show up, right? Sometimes we forget to think of how we want to show up. We only think of how we don't want to show up. And therefore, when we don't show up the way that we've always been, we don't know how to show up any other way. If you haven't thought of a different identity, different role to take to replace that role, right? It's just like when you tell someone to stop, like let's say a really simple example is like when you're on a diet, or if you are changing the way you eat, instead of yes, a perfect example would be like my sister. Instead of her, she loves boba, she loves drinking boba. And so instead of just saying like, hey, stop drinking boba, right? Stop drinking boba. It should be that simple. Instead of just saying that, say, instead of drinking boba, drink some lemon water, right? There's a replacement. There's a replacement behavior, replacement action that's going to replace that drinking boba with something else. That's how like I guess behavior analysts and like people who work with kids, that's how they work. It's like you don't just want to take away something from a kid. You want to replace it with something else. You don't want to just tell a kid to like not do something. You want to also give them the other option of like, hey, don't do this, right? You want to direct their attention to something else. The action, the trait that you want them to start doing. And so this is exactly the same thing. So if you want to start showing up, if I want to stop showing up being the one responsible, well, how do I want to show up instead? So there needs to be that extra additional step where you think about, okay, I don't want to be the one in charge, but I do want to be the one that, supports when people have question about this, right? So you take on a different role, but that way you have clarity around like how you're supposed to be, the role that you have in that situation. I hope that's making sense, instead of just saying like, oh, I'm not going to be responsible anymore, period. You say, okay, I'm not going to be the one responsible for the whole thing, but like I would support here. And so when I go into a situation, into an event, I know that, hey, this is my role. And if it's anything outside of that, I'm going to hold my boundaries and and respect myself and love myself and tend to myself, and even if it's uncomfortable, because let me tell you, it's going to be uncomfortable. It is going to be uncomfortable when you first start implementing these changes in your life, because of course it's years and years and decades and decades of conditioning, right? Depending on whether you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, right? It doesn't matter. Conditioning is conditioning. It's going to be uncomfortable. And if you know going into this change that it's going to be uncomfortable, you are way, way, way better off. And you have higher chances of being successful if you go into it knowing that it will be uncomfortable, knowing that you will feel resistance from your body, from your mind, and still holding yourself through it all, still knowing that like at the end of the day, this is for the highest good of not only you, but the people around you, right? Because the more you love and take care of yourself, the more you are able to hold that space and love and take care of everybody else as well, as a result, as a ripple effect. So those are some of the things that I want to share with you. If you are someone who is struggling to put yourself first, if you are struggling to love yourself, if you're struggling to still feel like a good person, but still also take care of the people around you, right? And take care of yourself, right? Because it really starts with yourself. And I know it can be hard, especially if you've been in this role, taking on this identity for so long. It can be hard. It will be uncomfortable, but what is the alternative, right? The alternative is to do something different and feel uncomfortable and shift day by day, slowly. With every little action, you will grow your capacity to hold that discomfort and hold that reaction from other people, because you will get reaction from other people. You will get other people not either being happy for you or not being happy with you, because you are shifting your identity, you are shifting your role, you're shifting how you want to show up, because you want to show up for yourself and other people, not just for other people anymore, right? There's this phrase that I learned from my one of my mentors that says, when you stop people pleasing, you will stop pleasing some people, which means other people will not be pleased, and some people will express that to you. They will express their displeasement, unpleasantness, or they will just express their opinion about your shift, because your shift is taking away from what you used to give to them, right? So of course they're gonna naturally react or be curious, especially if you haven't communicated it to them. So again, it goes back to what I was sharing at the beginning, that that sharing, that communication is so important first and foremost, so that you don't have that reaction, that automatic reaction from them of oh, what's going on? What's wrong? Like, why are you acting all different, right? So if you don't have that communication, of course, people will respond and react in that way. But if it's just strangers, then of course, let them be, let them react the way they react. And you just hold strong to the identity that you're committed to and the person and the love that you are deciding to commit to yourself and give to yourself. Because at the end of the day, you know that it's healthy and it is for the highest good of yourself as well as everyone around you. And you move from that place, right? So it's always I know it's gonna be hard. It's going to be difficult sometimes. So you're gonna expand your capacity. You're gonna expand your capacity to do things for you. You're gonna expand your capacity to hold discomfort and to hold other people's opinions, especially if you have been very people pleasing and very giving in the past. And I say this because I know this is the reality of us who have just given so much in our life that, like, when we finally ask or when we finally give back to ourselves, there may be some reactions from other people around us. And if you don't have reactions from other people around you, then I am so happy for you, that you have such supportive people around you that see that shift in you and are celebrating that with you and are encouraging you to be, to show up more for yourself, right? But at the end of the day, I am always such an advocate of us showing up for ourselves first and foremost, because that is the most pure place, the most pure energy, the most authentic and true aligned place that we can be. And then from that place, we can serve and we can share and we can love others from a very pure, from a very abundant, our cup full and overflowing. You should always, I'm not going to tell you what you should and should not do, but for me, my goal is to always make sure that my cup is filled before I give to others. And I'm going to only give to others from a place of overflow. Your giving should be from overflow, not from your cup. Okay, so that is such a big lesson that I've learned throughout the years. And of course, I still practice it. I'm not perfect at it. We fall off the bandwagon sometimes, but it is so important to prioritize your cup and to do things that fill your cup and to find the things that do fill your cup, right? So if you're not even to the point where you know what fills your cup, then that is the work that you need to do first. And then once you fill your cup, then you get from your overflow, all right? And of course, there's one more thing about that is that we don't want to have that expectation of someone else filling our cup, right? Because that's how I used to grow up. That's how I grew up. I grew up with this idea that, hello, if you are joining me live, say hello in the comments. I grew up with the idea that if I give to other people, if I give from my cup to other people, then other people will fill my cup, right? So that's what I grew up with. Well, that's what I thought. So I always gave and gave and gave to other people, and I didn't get much back. And so my cup would get like depleted, right? I would be empty. And once you're empty or once you're near empty, that is where the resentment comes up, the bitterness, right? The things that you say and do that you're not proud of afterwards, that's when it comes up. So just make sure that the filling of the cup comes from you. You have the ability, you have the power to fill your own cup and truly and honestly when I found ways to fill my own cup, and I did not expect that from my family. I did not expect that from my friends. I did not expect that from Robert. That was when it was the most fulfilling, when I was able to fill my own cup and be so happy and so fulfilled and full of gratitude that, like, I just wanted to give to other people because I was just overflowing, right? And when I was given from, like, my friends, my family, and Robert, that was just extra, that was just extra, that adding on to my full cup already. And so it was a really healthy exchange of water, I guess, if we're talking about filling one's cup. But yeah, so that was what I wanted to share. That's what I felt called to share in today's live. And I hope that was helpful in some way, shape, or form. Let me know in the comments how that resonated with you, what you found helpful, and how you fill your cup. What fills your cup? Take that time to contemplate that and really tune into your heart space and see what really does fill you up on a really soul level. All right. Okay, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this, and I will catch you in tomorrow's live. All right.